In this section, we're going to be looking at the date and time function. These functions, while you could tell already, are not that many. They are useful for whenever you want to plan budgets or group your data in a certain manner that you can pinpoint dates and time. So we'll be looking at some of these, and others we will not be looking at them due to time. But you are always encouraged to look at the DAX function reference for further details and explanations of these functions. That said, let's head into the demo. Let's open Excel, and as usual, create a blank workbook. Head into Power Pivot, the Manage button ribbon, and connect to our Access Northwind database. It should be available in your Downloads folder. We test the connection, click Next, and we're going to import the Orders table. Just in case, we're going to select the related tables, 8 of these total. They are being imported successfully. Now let's head to the Orders table itself. We're going to start adding calculated columns. So we're going to be heading into the end of the screen. We're going to start thinking of, we want to create a way of organizing all our orders by year, quarter, month, and when payments are due. To that effect, we're going to utilize a lot of these date functions we have readily available for us, and we're going to create multiple calculated columns. The first one we're going to create is a 30-day payments due. There's a function called eDate that gives us how many months in advance. We're going to assume that we have the majority of our customers at 30 days or a month away. So we're going to use the order date, and we're going to tell it 1 month away from now. That gives us the exact dates that we should be looking for. I'm going to name it 30 days payment due. The next one we're going to create is at the end of the month, in case we ever need to verify when the end of the month is. We're going to indicate the order date, and we're going to indicate 1 month. So it just gives us, for the current month, the end last date of it. We're going to name it end of month. We're also going to create another one, month number. And this one's going to use the month and the order date. This is just going to give us which is the current month of our order date. This is going to be a large formula, and we're going to be creating quarters in here. So for that, I'm going to copy and paste the following if statement. We've seen it before, or probably if you're familiar with Excel, you probably use it heavily. It is not that complex. It's just nested ifs within other ifs. And what I'm doing, notice that the first if, it verifies if a month number, which we just created, is less than 4. If it is, assign Q1. If not, continue to the next if. The next if it's less than 7, which means that it was not between 1 and 3 before, so it must be between 4 and 6. Assign it Q2, belongs to quarter 2. The last one verifies since it's not between 1 and 3, nor 4 and 6, that must be between 7 and 9. So it's verifying it's less than 10. If it is, it's Q3. If none of these have been correct, that means it's the last quarter, Q4. So we're going to press enter, and we're going to name it quarter. Notice that if we look at the values in here, they seem to be in order. Seem to be matching as we were wanting them to be. So now that we have the quarters, we want to find out the name of the month. And you, being a user of Excel, you're probably thinking already have possible ways of doing that. I'm going to use a DAX function for this. Copying and pasting here, and it is a long one. Basically, it's using a switch function matching the month number here and then completing our values in here. Notice it returning the number of our month and the name as well. So let's go ahead and name it appropriately. Call it month name. And we're going to create yet another column here. This one is pretty simple. It's the year of the order date, which is retrieved. We're going to call it year of order date. And last but not least, we're going to create a long formula here again. But this time, it's not another datetime function. It's some x. We're going to explain what's happening here. We're going to take, since we're in orders, we're going to make a sum of the order details based on our order number. Since over here it's just a header, it's going to go for each one of these rows and make a sum and retrieve it in here. Let's see what happens when we click enter. We are moving along and we receive some data. We're going to name it order quantity. So how do we know that this value is correct? 130. We can go and see first, what is the order ID? 30. Let's see if we are lucky enough to have these on the top. The order ID here is these two on top. The quantities are 130. So it does seem that we did the correct calculation there. The same for the other one. Let's see, it is the order ID number 31. So this is 31 and 32. Let's go back and verify that. 30 and 35. So we have for 31, 30, yes. And for 32, we have 35. Correct. So we are just exactly where we want to be. Now that we have our values set, let's head into switch into the workbook. We're going to insert a pivot table, connecting to our current connection and opening a new worksheet, naming this one orders. What do we want to list? So since we have our orders, we're going to collapse everything here since we have a lot of tables. We're going to choose orders. And we want to use our year. Why? Because our sales year usually occur by the year. Great, we have a year, but we want to have it organized that way. Great. Telling us this is the sum. We're not interested in the sum yet, at least we'll leave it there. We're going to want the order quantity too. We're going to want a month name. Notice that now it's breaking down there. Or better yet, why not quarter? I'm going to also look for a quantity here. Great. Now it's telling us the numbers that we're looking for. Let's keep on drilling down. We have year, we have the quarter. How about the month? So now we have our dates of month. We could also have it by month number if we wanted to. Might be a bit too much. And what we want to look at is taking it further and even possibly displaying the order quantity. Great. How else can we take it further down? Let's analyze. We have, how about the order ID? Well, let's stretch this a little bit here. Notice that we have all of these. We have, what about order ID here? Okay, now it's looking better. Remember those three that we had? 30, 31, 32, 33, it's indicating that we have the sales by the year order of the date. We don't want a sum of this, so we're going to stretch this and remove. We don't want this as a sum. Order the quantity is fine. The order of quantity, we don't want it as a sum. We can leave those two there. Sum of the quantity we definitely don't want. Now things are looking a little bit even better. Let's look at the quantity again. Well, I think I should have left the quantity in there just to make sure. And there we go. We don't want the sum of order ID neither. We'll remove it here. And now we're looking much better shape. So we're telling us that by quarter we're organizing all these sales. Notice. But wouldn't it be easier? How do we know when we are due for payment? We could drag down to the column the 30 days and look what happens. It's already telling us that for the order 34 that was sold for quantity, this is the day when we should be due the 30-day payment. This is just a small example of how we could leverage the date functions in combination with a few other functions readily available in DAX to have an idea how you can analyze your data for payments due.